Hi everyone, welcome back to Screamers, your weekly women's football fix. I'm Maya and I'm here in the studio as always with Jessie and Honor, ready to dig into the FA Cup semi-finals, the latest international break and pick out our Screams of the week and of course check in with the Woso Community Noticeboard. Shall we get into it?
Let's do it. This weekend held exciting FA Cup semi-finals with our very own JD heading to Kings Meadow for Chelsea versus Liverpool.
I'm not over the trauma yet.
And the Manchester derby finishing just over an hour ago. So, Chelsea-Liverpool, shall we get into it?
Must we? Must
It kills you, isn't it, Jessie?
Honestly, I've never felt so tense and so hopeful at the same time as I did.
It's a horrible feeling.
Until like the 94th minute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's what they'll do to you.
That's what I should have expected. I watched Chelsea. I should have known that it would happen. But setting aside the result, it was actually a really nice day. The Liverpool fans were like in full force.
I was going to say,
a good crowd.
Liverpool fans, best away limbs in the league.
I mean, it went mad during that.
And it was
mad on the
We'll get
TV.
to the goal, but yeah, it was basically a sellout of our away allocation. I think I don't know if other clubs do it, but maybe it's because of the sponsor we have. But Expedia always will put on buses for Liverpool fans from Liverpool, so that's why you get such a huge a turnout of away, and that maybe other clubs don't get it. And I think
that's really good.
Yeah, the away support is brilliant. Like chatted to a bunch of lovely people, lost my voice shouting. It was really great. You know, it was good for Kings Meadow to have some atmosphere.
I thought in the first half Chelsea really were not getting it together. It was really surprising actually.
They came out exactly how I thought they would, in that, you know, they did have chances and they dominated possession, but I thought we were doing really well at frustrating them.
Definitely.
Kind of
getting around their back line as well.
Yeah, and Millie Bright, probably off the back of an international window, didn't have the pace to deal with either Olivia Smith or Leanne Kiernan, and that felt
or even Grace Fisk at points.
And that kind of, if when we were playing it quickly, that was, I think, the main drawback of our play in the first half is that we weren't necessarily releasing the ball quickly, because when we did, we had a lot of breaks down that right hand side where the legs just couldn't, they were so fast. I thought we had some really good last ditch defending and also some good saves, and also just a lack of composure from Chelsea that I was quite surprised by in the first half.
Yeah, it wasn't clinical at all.
When we went 1-0 up, it felt like okay, now we're in for it. And then actually I think we had maybe the better chances for most of the first half.
You did. They were painful. Yeah. It was painful.
Oh God, because they were all right in front of us as well. Yeah. And just like, if the hope kills you over the course of the match, my God, the hope kills you in like the 5 milliseconds before it gets saved. But the goal.
Oh my God.
The goal.
It was perfect.
Our star girl.
It was a perfect assist as well, perfectly weighted.
Yeah.
Sondy Baltimore was side facing, so she just couldn't match Olivia Smith's pace.
Yeah.
Didn't notice necessarily the pass that came through behind her, between her and Millie Bright. It was just, it was perfectly executed.
And it was right in front of us. The crowd went absolutely. Leanne Kiernan was in the crowd at one point. She just jumped the barrier, was in the crowd.
I saw Olivia Smith went and high-fived all the front row. Yeah. It was really nice.
It's been a while since I've been in a crowd like that jubilant. How few of us there were. It was incredible. And then I don't know, I haven't been able to actually go back and watch it in real life, but it kind of felt in the ground like Cuthbert's goal just kind of came out of nowhere.
It was basically came from Liverpool not being able to clear that ball.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like Cuthbert was going to go for it. And then it just kind of dropped to her.
Yeah.
Her defender had switched off. And I don't think she even realised it was going to happen. And then because the ball just dropped so perfectly to her, she just gave it a go and was really lucky.
I think if we go in at 1-0 up at half time, that second half is totally very different, because we just came out and it was like, oh, we're going to camp out in our own box, and it felt like, oh, we are really just up against it now. Yeah. But somehow we kept it at 1-1 through some mad blocks and some misses, and pure Grace Fisk was just being run ragged. Olivia Smith, her defensive work, it's the same thing we've been praising LJ for, or in James for recently, but it meant we didn't have that out ball, and we were just
she can't do everything.
She can't she might, she can't do everything. And I think that maybe Amber Whiteley didn't necessarily get the substitutions right. Leanne Kiernan coming off, I think, was unprecedented. It wasn't something they predicted.
No.
She just looked gone.
Yeah.
About 60 minutes.
It obviously wasn't part of the plan.
No. But I think bringing on Roman Haug, that made sense, bit of height, bit of presence. But when Olivia Smith came off and we brought on Jazz Matthews, it was like, are we just settling in and hoping we get to extra time?
I don't necessarily think the game plan was to bring Olivia Smith off at that point.
But again, if you're going to bring off an attacker, bring on an attacker.
Yeah.
Or I think they should have done the Capox Enderby change at the same time, because Capox was just getting bullied by Lucy Bronze. Like, that physicality was just a complete mismatch.
It's difficult because they obviously were trying to plan for that extra time.
Yeah.
Because what was it? The second Chelsea goal.
95th minute.
95th minute.
Yeah, it was
exactly.
like right at the death.
Yeah.
And then Hannah Hampton turned Rachel Laws's dark arts back at her and immediately sat down and pretended it had a sore leg. Which I was like, you know what, fair. It was just like gutting to be so close.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. But Liverpool had a great run.
I'm so proud of them.
Yeah.
Like, this FA Cup run has been...
It definitely shows development for sure. Like, they're playing as a team.
Yeah.
Really scary attack. They've knocked out some really good teams on their way up. So,
also mad, we've not had a home game all FA Cup.
Really?
We've been away the whole run.
That's
Thank
ridiculous.
God for that amazing away contingent, those expedient coaches.
What can I say?
And then today we had the Manchester Derby, the other semi-final.
Interesting game. Yeah, I think the first half was obviously a bit more exciting than the second half.
Yes.
So started off with an early goal from Man United 5 minutes in. It was just a sensational pass from Ella Toon.
Just
and
perfect.
then Celine Bizet, I doubted her for a second.
Me too.
Yeah, I thought
I
she
should not
it.
have. That little cut out to the right. And
just
then
took her a while
curls
to
it
get
in.
control of the ball, didn't she? And I thought I was like, well, she's fucked it now. There's 3 defenders on her.
Yeah, but that little chop to wrong foot them. Is it Gracie Price who just sends completely the wrong
exactly.
way?
So good.
And
Such
finishes
good
it brilliantly.
composure.
So that finished 2-0 to Manchester United.
Yeah, it felt like, first half they came, I mean, Ella Toon loves a derby, doesn't she? She comes
you see
out.
it in her face, can't you?
Yeah. And the City injury crisis
Oh
was
my God.
already going to be difficult going in, but
that
then
shot of their bench.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, the injuries, it's such a dire situation.
Yeah.
Hopefully they haven't added Mary Fowler to the list.
Exactly, it really didn't look good.
I think everybody was pinning their hopes on Mary Fowler this game, weren't they?
They're missing so many forwards, and Mary Fowler has been playing really well.
Yeah, I think missing so many attacking players, there's just no relationships up top. So it's just everybody's on a different wavelength. And then at least Mary Fowler kind of has something. And then when she's gone, as Carolyn doesn't know where she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Lily Murphy, Carolyn don't have any kind of relationship. They've hardly played together. So it just was like City were just trying to do something, but no one knew what anyone else was doing.
I think Man United's game plan was so they got it perfect. I think
Spot
they came
on.
out, their press was so energetic from the first moment. Like Turland is just in your face as soon as you have the ball, which I think Kiara Keating almost found out even before their first goal.
Yep.
But then like Galton was doing so well at sort of closing off that passing lane to Kasparai, who's been like a real good outlet for them for City at points this season, but just couldn't get anything.
No.
And the defence, I tell you what, I don't love Man United and I never will, but watching Jade Riviere do a slide tackle and then stand
cheering.
up and go,
I love that.
That was so good.
I actually love that.
That was brilliant.
I really like Man United this season have had such an amazing defensive record. Obviously they've got Tellis Joyce coming in and just being incredible.
But then
when you've got
Joyce.
Jade Riviere, Gabby George, and then you've got Maya Leticia and Millie Turner. I just think like Maya, I know we have different opinions on this, but I do think Maya, Millie, maybe Gabby as well, should have like a bit more of a shout in the England setup. Like I just think they've been so solid.
Well, Gabby George did get called up a few times, didn't she?
She got called up once.
Was it injury that then she missed the next camp, or I can't really remember why?
No, I don't think it was injury. I think it was just
Serena didn't fancy her.
No, basically.
City looked better in the second half, but couldn't really do. I think you're right, it's that lack of connection between them, because Carolyn kept being like, hang on, sorry, I was signed as a winger and now I'm playing number 9 and I've got Lily Murphy I've never played with, and Kasparai's here now? Oh, okay, fine. It just
wasn't coming together.
It wasn't coming together.
What do you guys think about the final then? So it's going to be a Chelsea Man United final.
I hope that Man United can claim the trophy again, because I think it would be really cool for them to do that, like in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
And
for a
just
second time,
and just shit everything, but they've gone out there and they've done this. We'll see. Obviously Chelsea just seem like unstoppable.
I'd love it for, I could say for the players, for most of the players, if Man United won. I think setting aside issues with coach and owner, I think you're right. I think it would be great for them to be able to defend a trophy as well, because so far it seems like the only club that can defend trophies is Chelsea.
Yeah.
And it would just be cool to see another team sort of it feels like this season Man United have played in a way that does mean they deserve a trophy in something, in a way that I think it was a good cup run last season, but it wasn't necessarily like an amazing season. Whereas they have been so good that I think, on balance, I
agree.
And that's as close as I'll come to ever praising Man United.
So it's time to pick our Screamers of the Week, where every week we pick our favourite goals from the world of women's football. Last week's winner was Honor. Congratulations, Honor.
Thank you very
much. On a roll.
I feel like I should get a point for that as well, because it was my goal.
Yeah, I don't know. It turns out that picking a Screamer as your Screamer is a winning formula.
Yeah. So you two need to get on it, because I want to pick one of you. I loved you committing though, Maya. You committed to picking for your own. You're like the only vote for that one.
Sorry.
I guess Honor, that means you get to go first.
Yeah, so this is the benefit. It's all playing out.
Yeah.
So I've learnt to play the game, and I'll be picking, obviously, the most iconic Screamer of the week, in my opinion. There are a couple of other good ones, but it's got to be Michelle Adjuman for England on her debut after 41 seconds.
Incredible.
Just insane.
What a goal.
I did think you were going to do that thing of having us all think you were going to pick that goal, and then none of us could do it, and then you wouldn't do it. You have form. It was such, I mean, the touch, the power, what a goal that was.
Oh my God, unreal. It's just the control to do that and the maturity to finish that. Oh my God.
I think it was just like reflex, wasn't it? It was like it was subconscious. It was
pure.
I mean, that was some goal. I think you might have already locked down your win for
we'll
next time.
See.
Maya, who are you going for?
You're gonna hate me.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going for Olivia Smith versus Chelsea.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. It would be biased if I did.
Incredible assist, actually. Just finding that space, like getting past both the defenders, getting in front of them, and then just finishing it off just before Millie Bright got there was just. Oh, it was beautiful.
I nearly I wanted to jump on the pitch. Such a good goal.
She is an incredible player.
We need to build a team around her.
Totally. It was just an absolute moment of brilliance, and I couldn't not pick it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad somebody else did, because I actually had decided on mine earlier in the week. Scottish fans, take your headphones off now, because mine is the sixth goal in that game. Laura Freigang's filthy back heel. Like,
incredible.
This is another moment where I realised that, my God, I'm just such a defender, because what are you doing? Why are you doing that? But she has a sort of back half to goal. I can't remember which Scottish defender on her, but not really pressuring her that much. And to have the time to be able to just play a perfect back heel right into the corner of goal. I think it dinks in off the post as well, which is like inch perfect. I made a guttural noise. It was just filth, just absolute
very
filth.
Satisfying.
It was such, and to watch it, and it's one of those that looks so good in slow-mo as well. Like just watching the ball.
It's a Screamer when it holds up in slow-mo.
When it holds up in slow-mo. So I just think, apologies Scotland, but it was a bloody brilliant goal.
So those are our Screams of the week. From Honor we have
Michelle Adjuman.
From me we have Olivia Smith, and from Jessie,
Laura Freigang.
So we'll put them up on our Instagram for you to vote.
Mm-hmm. And so all the players have just returned from the latest international window. More fixtures across the continent. Obviously, we'll get to England, we'll get to Wales, our growing love and fandom for the Welsh national team. But I think we should start with poor old Scotland this week.
The massacre.
Oh my God.
The bloodbath.
I thought the 4-0 loss the week before was bad enough. And
I got quite excited when they went up 1-0.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're completely wrong.
Yeah.
We've been completely wrong.
Went in half time, they went in 1-0 up. It was
a brave first half from Scotland.
Yeah.
I thought they played quite well.
It's pretty convincing.
And that's what everyone was calling for. Like, bounce back from that 4-0 loss, come out with a bit of bravery, press, don't be afraid to just give it a go.
Yeah.
And then,
oh my God, it was like Germany got in at half time. We're like, what are we doing? Sorry,
just realised we're actually playing a football match.
Yeah. So I thought this was training, and now we're starting.
So should we just go out and score 6 goals in 45 minutes?
And it was just
relentless. Yeah, it really was.
The commitment to, and because Germany have been having a weird few years, then they're really now sort of hitting their stride. And this felt like, and it's difficult, like you said last week, were they great or were Scotland just not good?
Yeah.
But they felt, it was like every single thing they were trying looked seamless.
It was all working.
Yeah, the pace and everything. But what I was, more than I was impressed by that, I was so disappointed at the way Scotland just fell apart.
I don't know what happened to their defence.
No. It was like they forgot how to do even the simple things, like the amount they couldn't clear their lines and were fluffing clearances, and it was going straight back to Germany, and then immediately, and not even like punting it upfield and it's going back to a German defender.
No, straight back in the box.
Straight back in the box.
Also, something interesting that my buddies on How's Your Touch podcast were saying is that in the Scotland team, there's a lot of focus on these players with reputations, and it's like, okay, well, this person has done well in the past, this person has a big reputation for playing, in a good team and a good league, and then rather than actually going on form and what a player can do, they're just trying to squeeze in, like Martha Thomas, maybe she's not in the best form at the moment, and just trying to do
I
things
was
like
surprised
that.
she was on the pitch actually, because she's not been great for Spurs this season at all.
And why give no opportunities to youngsters either? And I think, it was interesting as well with the new incoming manager, Melissa Andreatta. So she worked previously with the Australian youth teams.
Okay.
But she's, never as a senior international coach, but with youth teams. And so I think, the guys were saying as well that the team are just crying out for young players being brought in. And so Mick McArdle will now be going kind of back to his role where he's working with the youth teams. And maybe they can have a bit of a connection, bringing the youth up into the first team.
It does feel like they don't really have as much new blood coming through, or at least you're not seeing them on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. They're not being given an opportunity to show what they can do.
And that's another massive difference between them and how Rhiannon Wilkinson is running Wales.
Yeah.
Like, she's been super vocal about how she's rotating that team and using all the players, and she's making loads of substitutions.
Yeah.
A lot of the young players are getting on the pitch, and it's obviously paying off. So they drew with Sweden, which was, I have to say, an incredible game.
It was. Maya and I missed the first 25 minutes of the England game because we couldn't turn off the Wales game. It was such captivating football.
It was such an exciting game.
And you're right. Yeah, the change she made again. I think she made 5 changes for the last game, another 5 changes for this one. New goalkeeper as well. Which, when you think about the attacking threat that
Sweden have, especially on their set pieces as well.
Yeah, to start, Safia Middleton-Patel, who has played, I think this was her 3rd cap for Wales, 4th cap.
I have to say, she played an absolute blinder.
Sweden should have put that game to bed in the first half. The amount of chances they had, the amount of shots they had, and she played an absolutely outstanding game, covered in mud by the end of the game, which
That's
shows
Jessie's approval.
Like that shows the shift she'd put in, and it's just like some of the saves she was pulling out. I'm like,
it was
unreal.
It was amazing,
and the bravery, like coming to claim balls, the connection she had. I also thought the Welsh defence. I thought Rhiannon Roberts was outstanding. And then I read in one, I can't remember what paper it was, gave her like a 7 out of 10 rating. I'm like, sorry,
did you watch the game?
Yeah, Fridolina Rolfo did not have a sniff all game, and you're giving Rhiannon Roberts a 7 out of 10. Absolutely not. They were fantastic.
Yeah, and the Hannah Kane goal, that was like the one goal that they got, was a repeat of the game last week against Denmark, but this time she scored it, and so obviously she's gone back, they've thought about it, they've worked on that, and she's now converting those chances.
You can say she made the keeper commit this time in the way she didn't before,
exactly,
and she
waited just that bit longer.
It was, I'm so, honestly, I think if Wales play like that and England play like we did against Belgium in the second game against Belgium, then that it could be quite an interesting game in the Euros, because Wales will be up for it, and they're a team that comes together. They're not relying on a superstar. They're 2 superstars, for want of a better word, and Jess Fishlock and Kerry Holland were both missing, and they still came together really well as a team. Whereas England were interesting.
There was only one superstar talisman in that game, and it was Tessa Willett.
Oh my god, it makes you wonder what would have happened if they played her in the first game.
Seriously,
crazy. This was exactly how to react to a 5-0 loss for Belgium, really. They just came out at the beginning absolutely flying, unstoppable, and England had no idea what was happening.
It felt like a real shock that Serena hadn't really prepared for that, which is quite weird, because I think Belgium do play like that. Like in the past, when we've lost to them in the past, they played exactly the same way.
Also, in her post-match interview, she said that was exactly what we expected, and I was like, okay, if that was exactly what we expected, what the fuck happened?
Why did you do that?
It's what we expected. We thought we won't do anything about it. Like,
and we were like, well, I guess we don't know how to defend this.
I mean, Tessa Warlock was rapid.
On fire.
Oh my God, what a player.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. She's just looking at her feet running and the pinpoint first goal. I was like, oh, it's so over.
And the balls to release her. And it really showed, I think, as good as our defenders can be, we don't have fast defenders, do we? So up against a really rapid centre forward, we're really struggling.
So caught out. Yeah.
And they, at the moment they went, well, I was going to say 1-0, they went 2-0 up. They then sort of dropped really into that compact sort of mid to low block. And once again, we couldn't
Which we
break
famously
it apart.
can't get through.
No.
Yeah.
We still struggle so much against a low block.
I know, and everyone knows that's how we struggle.
Yeah.
And so everyone does it.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we've scored 2 goals. Now let's drop in and defend. Oh, but we could still catch you on the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, and we have. Like, it was. I mean, maybe if Russo and Lauren James had been available, it might have been a bit different. I kind of thought none of them, having done so well the previous game, I don't think Aggie Beaver-Jones particularly covered herself in glory.
No,
I
I
think
agree.
Nikita Paris was...
Yeah,
She hasn't been amazing this camp. I've been really enjoying watching her play at Brighton.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it hasn't quite come together for her at camp.
I also think like at Wembley as well, when she came on at the end against Spain, she was really promising, like great energy, causing them trouble, like doing her job. But in this game, it kind of seemed like either she didn't know her job, she was kind of drifting to one side.
Yeah.
Like she's supposed to be in that 9 role.
Yeah.
And then she's dropping deep, but she's not picking up the ball.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed like something was just a bit disjointed there.
Yeah, disjointed feels like it's a pretty good description of how we're playing all night, to be honest. The amount of, again, sort of sloppy, wayward passes, I'm really not... I'm increasingly less sold by the Grace Clinton England starting role.
I don't know. I think it has potential, but just right now, I don't know why not, because we've seen how amazing she could be in club football.
Yeah.
At Spurs and at Man United.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's not clicking.
Kira Warstock says she's getting back to her sort of defence splitting passing best, and it just needs that little bit of shoring up alongside her, which obviously Georgia Stanway in the past has provided. Probably is not going to in the summer. Might be. I think the latest consensus is that she'll be fit, or she'll be playing, but
not match fit.
That's
such a shame.
So who knows if she'll be on in the squad? But I guess we were really missing Russo, and then we had the Russo regen come on in. Michelle Adjiman.
Honestly.
Oh my God.
I mean, this kind of just, even though we lost, it just actually turned the game around in my mind. I'm just like, actually, it's like an iconic game.
Yeah, it's a huge positive.
Oh my God,
yeah. Oh my God.
Positive. I mean, I feel like we need to dissect every detail of the goal, because it was...
what I love is that she was at St George's Park training with the under-23s, and then as soon as Russo was unavailable, she just Serena was like, oh, she was already here, so we just brought her across, and then she goes and does that.
Which I love, which is amazing. Also, I love the idea that if Serena just stepped out and seen just
cherry picks you out of it.
someone from the the coffee shop at St George's Park doing keeper, it's like, oh, are you available? Do you want to play forward? Yeah, all right. But I mean, it was the composure to do that in less than a minute into coming on the pitch.
They were not giving her an inch, and somehow she still managed to get that shot off.
It was just
the perfect touch. And then maybe that comes from knowing you were kind of called up last minute. You're not
such a wild card. The pressure's not there like it is on Russo.
You don't even have time to feel the pressure because it's all happening so fast.
Yeah,
it's
in 41 seconds.
For her to be 19 and called up to the under-23s, that's already she's a massive step above her age group. And then for her to then come into the senior team, it's like, okay, let's just do it.
It was amazing. Very predictably, everybody on Twitter being like, get her on the plane to Switzerland, and actually I really appreciated what Serena said after the game of it was amazing. We knew she could do a job in those tight spaces, but she is only young. This is only her first senior camp. We have injury problems. And I'm like, because that's a thing that I think we do so much in England, and that we see a wonder kid and then we put the hopes of the nation on them. Like that,
they're protecting her
from the start. Felt really good to see. I'm not concerned necessarily by the loss. I'm just more concerned about a perennial inability to break down a low block is what I think will be a bit of an issue.
I'm also a little bit concerned about our defence because not only the pace of on those quick breaks by Belgium, but also from that goal. That's the biggest player on the pitch. Why is nobody?
Yeah, it was that 6-foot player, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like, what are any of you doing?
It was almost like they were like, well, she's so tall, she's obviously going to get there, so
let her score.
And then two half-time defensive substitutions, which is rogue from Serena, isn't it?
It's panic stations, it felt like.
Yeah, I think it was right to take Niamh Charles off. I think she was maybe not doing so well, but Esme Morgan, fine. Okay.
Played well.
Yeah, actually did,
And I really enjoyed when she got a bit rattled, when she got carded.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I love a little bit of personality, a bit of spice.
I don't know why, but in my head, that just feels like it's probably the first card she's ever got in her life. So that was England, and then elsewhere, there was a few other tasty matches, wasn't there, in Spain? Yeah,
Spain battered Portugal 7-1.
Unreal.
I think what we've learned from this international camp is that Germany and Spain are looking really, really good.
Portugal, Scottish solidarity there. It's really like, anything you can do, we can do better. That is some kicking, isn't it? That is not necessarily promising for the summer. And you see that USA lost.
Yes.
That's then a second loss in 3 games, I think.
Well, it got the Emma Hayes spin that was like, it's really good for us to be able to have these learning opportunities.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what Serena said about England versus Belgium. So, yeah.
Sure, hun.
It's like manager bullshit, isn't it? So there was, lots of international fixtures all around. And there's an injury crisis going throughout women's football, which we'll touch on as well, because this exacerbated that. But a lot of players weren't actually able to go and join up with their national teams in international break. Players based in the NWSL. So we had Dana Castellanos, who plays for Venezuela and Portland Thorns, and then a quartet of Zambian players who are all, again, based in the NWSL. So Barbara Banda, Rachel Kundanaji, Risa Chilufa and Grace Chanda all missed their 2 matches with Zambia because of new, effectively, travel bans that have come in the USA that would have meant they didn't know for sure with 100% certainty that they would be able to re-enter the US despite being professional football players based in the NWSL.
It is absolutely crazy.
It's so terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. And so disappointing for them because, I mean, specifically Zambia, they're on a real kind of building drive. And 4 of their star players can't come to international camp. That is just so disappointing.
How are you supposed to grow as a national team if you have players who very, very understandably do not want to travel because they might not be able to get back to their homes?
Yeah, it's their livelihood.
Yeah. And this is especially considering the USA in the next 6 years is going to be hosting both the men's and the women's World Cup. And you have players already who are concerned about.
Exactly. How are they expecting to be able to do that if they can't even have players leave and re-enter after an international camp?
FIFA's so in the current administration's pocket that they're absolutely not going to say anything. But it feels like this should be something that it shouldn't be reliant on players and individual countries to call out. Like, there needs to be governing bodies across the sport.
Yeah.
Need to be challenging this because this is obscene. It's absolutely outrageous.
Something does tell me though that the Trump administration probably doesn't care about women's sport as much as we do.
What gave you that? I don't know where you would have pulled that very accurate understanding from.
No, it's really disappointing, and I wonder I guess it's just watch this space, isn't it, to see how it develops.
Yeah.
And then elsewhere there was a huge number of injuries in this international camp across the nations.
Crazy.
So we've had a few knocks. I don't think anything really serious, but
well, we don't actually know.
We actually don't know. Yeah,
there's a lot of sort of cloak
Lauren
and daggers.
James has been out. Alessia Russo has been out. Kerry Holland for Wales.
Yep.
Had quite a nasty looking injury.
Yeah.
Viv Miedemar's now out for the rest of the season, they've said, with a hamstring injury. I mean, that's just like a few.
Yeah.
But there's been a sort of, this has all come at the same time as the news that's just been announced that the Champions League women's qualifiers are going to start 3 days after the Euros final. We've also got these new FIFA competitions that are being added to the calendar.
Yep.
And you do start to think, who is thinking about player welfare amongst all of this?
Yeah.
Like, we look, the players are already so loaded by now. The fatigue's really setting in. You can see that from this camp.
Yeah.
How many players are getting injured. And then they're just going on to, it seems like, the players playing at the top level are actually not going to get a break.
Yeah, it's just more and more and more. And everyone likes to say, I say everyone, some people like to say that this is just what being a professional footballer is like, and this is how many games there are in the men's side of football. This international window does not exist in men's football. They got rid of it for a reason. This very reason. But also, like, men's football has had a more stacked calendar, and there are also players complaining about that in the men's game, but it has had a more stacked calendar for a longer period of time. The acceleration of the women's game has gone from players playing something like 10 games a season to now you're doing all of this. The leagues have grown. You've got way more international things.
You're adding 2 more competitions.
It's been such a rapid development.
It feels weird that like there seems to be a bit of a sort of hole where there should be people advocating for the players.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like that really exists at the moment, because it seems to be sacrificed for this like relentless, as you say, incredibly steep curve of growing the women's football calendar, which is great in some ways, but not if it's not going to be sustainable.
Because it doesn't feel, at this point, it doesn't feel like it's for the growth of the game. It feels like it's for the growth of income.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's
like
all about
like this 7-a-side competition. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking of those new FIFA competitions. But adding like the 7-a-side, which is clearly something, it will be really fun for people to watch. But it's definitely something to do with money.
I really hope that, we know that Viv Miedema is out. And for better or worse, City's season is kind of over anyway.
I hope she can come back for the Euros.
I hope she's back for how many players are we going to see missing from the Euros?
Exactly.
But then you've got to look at Lauren James. Like, Chelsea must be really concerned. They've obviously got a very big double header coming up in the Champions League, and they must be thinking, I hope she's back for that. So hopefully, we do have one more international break before the Euros as well. So
honestly, they just need to have a rest. Before we go, shall we check in with the Woso Community Noticeboard?
Yeah, let's do it. I've got something to add on. Fairly, I feel like sometimes we're quite chaotic with this, but actually quite a serious one. The FA has released some new guidance on trans players in football this week. There's been, obviously, we know lots of, I don't like calling them protests, because I think they're not, they're not calling for any positive change, but there's been lots of demonstrations and loud groups making noises outside of, we saw it at the League Cup final, Women's League Cup final. Apparently they're outside the England men's game recently as well. This new guidance has sort of come in the context of that, and there are a lot of people calling on the FA to very explicitly just ban trans people from playing football. And when they say trans people, they only ever mean trans women. To ban trans women from football. And there's lots of different bits in the guidance, but I think it's really important that like the FA has explicitly not done that. Other sports in the UK have. There are some sports in the UK that ban trans people from playing or ban trans women from playing, and the FA has very clearly stated that trans people have a right to play football. And I think
that's a good start.
That is a good start. I think we shouldn't necessarily, and this is also very easy for us to say as three cis people, but I think that is something that is important in the wider context of sports banning trans people from playing. Other parts of the policy are that under 18s, one of my friends said, is basically they've decided to leave the kids alone, which again is a good thing. It's sort of, children are not going to be forced to prove their gender to anybody, which is again a good thing. It puts clear numbers on sort of hormone levels that before were quite vague. Don't know necessarily if long term that's good or bad, but I think at least there's some clarity, whereas there wasn't before. It was very much a kind of, here's some target levels that are kind of loosely defined. But one thing that's come in that does feel a little bit on the face of it, a bit not so sure about that, is this concept of match observation. It's unclear if it would happen at the point that somebody, and this is only to play in FA, like the FA amateur system. So there are lots of leagues that are not beholden to, not affiliated, not beholden to that. But this match observation, I think it might be if a player registers to play in any of these amateur groups. It might be if there's a report or a complaint made. That bit I wasn't so sure on. Basically, somebody from the FA would go and watch a player play, and they're assessing for a point of safety and fairness, which feels very vague, and I don't really know. Very subjective. And safety, okay, but what constitutes fairness? Because
I kind of think also safety is completely irrelevant.
Yeah, it's a physical game where people have different abilities and different skill levels. So where are you drawing the line at for that? And
it's not safe when really amateur players are doing really dangerous tackles because we don't have the skills with our feet, for example. No one comes to watch us from the FA.
Yeah, it's really, it feels like that's the one area that I'm like, it feels like the other parts of the guidelines are maybe moving towards a little bit of clarity.
Yeah, that seems really muddy, and it has the kind of potential to be picked up by the wrong person.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that
completely misinterpreted,
hijacked by someone. Just, reporting a player, and then
in the first place, that is sinister.
Yeah, I think the other stuff as well about the hormone levels, in a way it's positive that there's more guidance, but then again it's still just so awful to be policing people's bodies like this.
Yeah.
And kind of arbitrary. It is arbitrary in the end.
Yeah, I couldn't see like what studies or anything that they're referencing to decide upon those levels.
I mean, that's the other thing, of course, is when you're looking at trans people in sport, depending where you sit on what you think about it, and I don't know where the person who did this guidance in the FA sits, but you can cherry pick evidence to kind of make it match what you want to say really easily.
Yeah, it's something that the vast majority of players don't have to deal with. It's just an added blocker for people to play a sport they love, especially as from the FA's own numbers, there are only, think about how many millions of people there are registered to play amateur football across the UK. There are only 20 trans players registered to play amateur football. There are none in the professional leagues, and it just shows all of this outsized noise about the danger of trans people in football is just creating a massive barrier bollocks.
As well. Yeah. So my notice is that Barcelona's Mappy Leon has got a 2-match ban for unsporting conduct, as it's called, for an incident with Daniela Caracas, who plays for Espanyol earlier in the year in a Liga F match. And at the time, it really looked like it had been a very transphobic incident. At least, it looked bad.
Yeah.
It looked bad.
Yeah.
But Mappy Leon has protested her innocence throughout and has been backed up by Barcelona. But Espanyol, I think, have been really good with Daniela Caracas.
Yeah.
And stood really firm and offered her all their legal advice. But it's been a really horrible situation.
Yeah, because she's had so much like hate and
online,
and awful stuff online, hasn't she?
Yeah. Even though she was not the perpetrator, she was the victim of the incident.
Yeah.
Racist, transphobic, misogynistic hate. So it has been quite a horrible underbelly of the Spanish league actually for the last few months. So yeah, Mappy Leon's come out with a 2-match ban.
Yeah. Barcelona appealed, and their appeal was overruled as well.
And that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose that episode has ended, but
no one really knew for sure what was said on the pitch, and that was a big thing, wasn't it? But regardless of what may or may not have been said, there was clearly something like Daniela Caracas was made to feel uncomfortable in a way you shouldn't be made to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
on the
it
pitch.
was some like really inappropriate touching.
Yeah,
whatever was said. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever was said, that touching has no place on a football pitch
or anywhere really.
And I'm really glad that there was, even if a 2-match ban doesn't feel like a huge amount in the grand scheme of things, like it's good.
At least something has happened.
That something has happened.
Yeah.
Really serious start to the notice board.
Yeah.
So,
go on, lighten up the mood.
No pressure on her.
So mine is not directly Woso related, but it is football culture related.
Oh, were we allowed?
And I think we all have thoughts on this. Can we just take a moment to appreciate Anne Hathaway singing North London Forever
I can't,
on social media?
I really don't want to recall that in my brain. I'm not joking. I think that's the worst thing I've ever watched on the internet.
That is how I feel every time I hear North London Forever. It was absolutely howling, guys. That embodies Arsenal.
I almost couldn't get to the end of that video.
I mean, I'm amazed you could.
I had to.
Did you?
It was like a sick fascination. When she's like, "That's the group chat going off."
Do you remember that Imagine video during COVID?
It was
exactly.
Can I just say it was like that, but I personally think it was worse.
Was that because you felt personally targeted?
If you can imagine, it was even more earnest.
And also because like there's not a global shutdown going on, so what justifies this?
Just crazy.
She's just mad.
Yeah,
it's like the way her eyes looked. It was the tone of her voice. It was the like really slow speed. It was like the nodding of the head. It was. It actually made my skin crawl.
I would love it if they get her on the pitch to do a rendition of it. You know,
my god, yeah.
When people do the national anthem.
National anthem.
Like adding in so many different vowels and notes to "Oh Say Can You See." Like get Anne Hathaway on the pitch. Get Anne Hathaway down to a women's game. Not to a men's game. Get down to a women's game to do that.
I won't be able to go.
You'll change your tune.
Oh my god.
Well, soon, Maya will soon come on the podcast with, actually guys, on reflection, I actually think it was great. I really
I actually teared up a bit. because I am North London forever.
Yeah, guys, I'm so North London coded. I bet you and Anne Hathaway pissed in Rowan's on a Saturday night after a game. I bet you do. We'd find you in there doing
London. Please stop it.
Oh, my only other one in the spirit of slightly chaotic things is I think you shared the photo, didn't you, of Lindsay Horan practicing her bicycle kicks. The woman cannot
quit.
No, she cannot be stopped.
I don't know if it's like good that she's practicing them so that maybe one day it might actually come off.
Why they've been so shit and she's been practicing them for years.
Or like, what is it like, babe, just let it go?
Yeah.
Just stop trying? I don't know.
I love the idea that I'm convinced Emma Hayes has a burner Twitter account that she just interacts with all of the chaos of women's football Twitter. But I love the idea that she knows about the Lindsay Heaps overhead bicycle
and is egging her on.
And it's like, no, I think you should do it. I think you should do it, Lindsay. Have a go. Like we'll put 5 minutes into the session for you to do some bicycle kicks. Christ alive! No one, any respecting coach would be telling her to stop.
That's all we've got time for on Screamers this week, but come back next Tuesday when we'll be catching up on the WSL and the Champions League. Plus, we'll be joined in the studio by writer and director of Souls United, Sarah Harrick. But until then,
follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all of the socials at @screamers_pod. Or if you're feeling old school, you can get in touch with us on email at screamerspod@gmail.com.
And follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts to be the first to know when a new episode drops. If you can, please rate and review the pod wherever you listen to help new listeners find us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.